Look at my camera. Welcome to the Bricks and Business podcast.
Behind the Lego bag.
This is the fourth time I'm gonna try to start this episode. Okay.
How many times do you think? Yeah, see, I don't have time for that right now.
Welcome to the Bricks and Business podcast. We are fuck yeah!
I need a spittoon over here.
Oh my god.
Gotta drink that coffee quick so I can start using a spit cup. Can you finish yours? Use your really expensive cup for a spit cup?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So welcome to the Bricks and Business podcast. This is Seth Como and Landon Ward, and we are going to make some Lego things and talk about stuff that annoys Landon a lot. Okay.
Like my fourth time trying to start the podcast and coughing. That was great. We are still continuing the Force Focused series, and it's been really fun. And this is the one I've been most excited to start. So we are going to do... I like doing the bag reveal. This is fun, even though you can't see my face.
I can see your face.
These cool Stormtrooper
Oh, we're not doing that.
clone helmets. Look, I like Star Wars a lot. I am not a nerd for Star Wars, so I'm not sure. These look like they're from a cartoon. This is Captain Rex, and that one
Autofocus.
No, there's no autofocus
Oh.
there. It's manual focus for that one. But the center one will be autofocus. This is Commander Cody. This is Captain Rex. I'm really excited to get into these mostly just because they're going to look really, really cool on the shelf. Not that I set up the shelf at all today. I
Look at that.
just said screw it.
That's like a good slow-mo.
Yeah. Did that at the same time.
Um,
So we're going to get into this while we talk about a bunch of different topics. At some point, that graphic might completely go away just because my iPad might turn off and I jerry-rigged it.
I'm disappointed in you.
You can cast photos in Google Photos very quickly, but you have to have the app open in order to continue casting. So
I do appreciate the Comic Sans.
I spent 2 seconds on that while I was setting up. I tried to get AI to make yellow bricks, and it looked so bad. Like, you look at it for more than 2 seconds, and you're like, those are not real bricks.
But those are.
It had like a 3x6, like really thick one. I'm like, this doesn't.
Oh, nice. It
This is not
invented its
common.
own Lego parts.
No.
Okay, so I think at the beginning of when we were picking these out, I wanted to do the blue one,
Yeah.
but mostly because of the piece number is a little lower. But now that Texas is number one, I want to do this one.
Yeah. I think
But
that's great.
I texted my Aggie friends. I said, 25 sounds about right.
25 for I
they're
don't keep up.
I know they're number 25
Oh.
in the poll, whatever poll that is. But Texas is number one, which
Nice.
hasn't happened in a really long time.
Yeah.
But how about this? We're number one in the polls. But if you look at the rankings, we're number 10 in the SEC. So like,
It doesn't.
it's because we haven't
doesn't
played
match.
a lot of SEC games yet.
Yeah.
So we're just like rated number one because we beat UTSA.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why that counts, but what are you doing? Is that how you
It's like a
open
chest.
this?
You can. I find it easier than
Hey.
trying to do the thumb punch thing, and it keeps the box a little bit nicer.
Wow.
So last time we made the mistake of just dumping all the packs out right in front of us, and this time I'm not going to do that because we kept switching.
So we had
back
different
and forth.
parts.
Yeah. So Lauren's been gone for a week, and I never.
She died?
No.
Oh.
My wife's been dead for a week, but this podcast was really important.
Really?
My kids are just hanging out at home. The
Hashtag life insurance.
life insurance. She went to Seattle for a little bit because her friend bought her plane tickets, and they went out and like had a lot of fun. But what are you doing?
Life insurance.
Oh my
With
god.
Wealth management. Hashtag sponsored.
So I was like leading up to it, I was thinking, this isn't gonna be bad. Like I could probably get some extra projects done. Like, not saying that.
What you're about to say She is gonna find.
I told her this.
Okay. Go ahead.
But I was just kind of being like, she also works in the evenings, so she's extra tired at the end of the week, whereas I don't. I work in the during the day, and then I come home so she can go to work. So I was thinking, well, I'm gonna have extra energy, obviously, because I don't work in the evenings. So what I'm gonna do is like extra projects around the house. We have like a toilet in our garage that we've been needing to swap out with the one in the guest bath. I'm like, yeah, I could even get my dad's help with stuff. Nope. Definitely didn't get to do any of that stuff because I was dead exhausted. The most I got to do was like the first 3 days when I still had energy. The first 3 days we went to a park each day, like different, like pretty unknown parks. Like I made a video, like kind of reviewing each park, which was fun.
That's cool.
What I want to do is start like a San Angelo family list account, kind of like the local list, but doing family list so that people will know like the free stuff that's actually cool to do here in town. Like the Meyer Museum is doing like some kind of STEM meetup once a month now, which is cool for like families.
That's neat.
So that kind of stuff I just want people to know about because like we said when Circuit Breaker was shutting down, like we want people to go to things and like know about those things. And ultimately I do think that that's completely on the business themselves to do that marketing effort and not on the citizens to do it, but it's San Angelo.
But yeah, you share with people what you're doing. It's helpful.
Yes. So it was nice to kind of just have a week off in a lot of ways and just hang out with the kids. But it was exhausting.
Yeah, children. Very
Yes,
exhausting.
But it was fun. We bought a Lego set. We were learning about the moon, so I bought space Lego sets. So for my daughter, I got the Friends camping one because it has a moon in it and it has stars as like a backdrop with like a camper, which is really cool. It had this.
I was like, when did Friends go camping?
Friends. The Lego Friends.
Yeah,
sets.
I now know what you're talking about.
But she, it came with like this camper, and the way they did the tent, like the pop-up tent on top, was really cool. I'll have to make a video of it if my child has not destroyed it yet. And then Indy got the space shuttle 3-in-1. So it is space shuttle, space fighter, and then like an astronaut. So like astronaut on the moon. It was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Mostly just me making the excuse to buy more Lego.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, I figured. What I really wanted to get, because we were learning about the phases of the moon and stuff, was to get the diorama, the space diorama that has the sun in the middle and then the earth and the moon that spins around it. And when you crank it, it actually does like the path. Like you can track where it is.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cool.
Is it like accurate?
I think so.
That's cool.
And I saw somebody in a forum said that they replaced the sun with like a yellow LED ball.
Nice.
So that it actually shone light so you can see the shadow on the moon. I'm like, that's cool. So that I would love to do that, but I was like, I can't spend another $70 on Lego just for a week. Not right now, at least.
Not until Lego arbitrage.
Yeah, that was. I was going to talk about that actually. So I've been doing research on that. Basically, buying sets at a discount that are going to retire, and then selling them after they retire for a profit. And there's people who make some pretty decent money if you know the sets to look for. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty interested in that.
I think I said 0% interest card for 18 months.
Yeah. Yeah, that way you don't have actual cash up front. And they, for the most part, retain their value as long as you get the right sets. So it shouldn't be.
What is Walmart's return policy on Legos? Because that would be even better.
Yeah.
Like if you
I don't-
knew that these are still like unopened, I just want my money back. Would it be a year or 90 days like normal?
I don't know. I'd have to see.
That'd be
Let's get this back. I can't see anything. I think this is the hack. It's sitting like super far away. So
I
I
ain't
can
doing
see.
none of that. I can move my head.
So you were saying that when when people just don't use their brains to
Oh,
book things
wow.
properly.
Wow,
What
that's
do we do?
That's a little dramatic. Don't we? No, I mean the we have a co-working space here, and we have every
You didn't have to get specific.
every space has its own calendar, and like it was a little nice for me because this morning I got a text message like, hey, can I book the calendar for this time? And I was like, I looked down at it, and I was already late to come in here, and I just looked at it, and for the first time in a really long time I went, that's a later problem,
Yeah.
instead of just letting it distract me and use my mental capacity to like figure out the solution to that problem. But it was like, it was good. And then that person saw me when I got here, and that was fine. She asked, and I said, yeah, I just I saw your message, but I'll get to it later. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have, I can't do that right now.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And you know what she said? Okay. And so it was kind of like freeing to hear like, okay, I didn't have to jump to that.
Yeah. We don't have to jump through hoops for everyone.
And in fact, yesterday I remembered a text message that I got from a client, and I was like, oh, I forgot to do that the day before. And I looked it up and answered his question, and thank you. That was what I got. So like for me, I like treat everything as way more urgent than I think it
has
needs to be.
Yeah.
And so what I do, I end up getting these like things that I think should be urgent, and I deal with them right away, but it puts off doing the thing I should be doing. Like, like I'm committing to this afternoon. I'm going to get the majority of another media company in town's website done that I've been putting off
For
a very long time. And the problem here is, think about this. They're the ones that are going to refer to me,
Yeah.
and I'm slacking on them. I didn't take it.
I'm missing one of these guys. It's somewhere. I just don't know where. Is that it? It might be
You
it.
can borrow it.
If you end up needing it,
We'll tear yours apart.
we'll tear mine apart.
Okay. Are you sure you got them in the right colors?
Yeah.
Because there's one right here that's a white
No,
one.
I know. It's two of these guys, and it's definitely one that I bet it just rolled over there. Because all of yours is like way over there.
Yeah, so, but the reality is like, they're the ones that are going to send people to me, and
Yeah.
that's a healthy, like, business thing. But why the hell haven't I done that?
Like
Like,
distracted.
I just hate it so much. And so I'm just like, and it's not like I forget. I literally pull the paperwork for that project out and put it on my desk every single day
I know. I see it
And it
sitting
sits
there every
there.
day.
with their brochure. And it's
Like, this is a thing I need to make.
it's not that complicated what
No.
they're asking me to do. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is if it were real complicated, I'd sit there and figure it out. And I
But the
would.
fact that it's probably, do you think the fact that it's not complicated makes it boring
Yes.
and not interesting
Yes.
to figure out?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I feel that I do the same thing pretty consistently. I'm like, I know how to do this. Like, I'll get to it in a little bit. I'm going to do this other thing that's harder to figure out first.
yeah.
But my hack now that I'm going to try is creating a blocked off calendar.
Yes.
That's just standard every week for me. So, I use ChatGPT to help me like kind of brainstorm on like the different things that I need to do. And I ultimately had to like manually adjust everything.
But it got you going.
But it got me going. It got me to the point where I was like, okay, I need to have time to make content for myself. I need to have time in order to do this, record this podcast. And I need to just block off sections because I'm not in meetings all day. I'm really not. And like and when I have to rush through things, I can. Like if I didn't have the time. So if I needed to get something done, I could do it within a very specific block of time. So I just said, hey chat, help me make this, help me organize this, and it just spat out, a string of text. I'm like, okay, I can't process all of that. Can you just make that to where I can put it in Google Calendar? And it said, I can make a CSV file that you could import into Google Calendar, and I'll just format it in a way that Google Calendar can understand. Great. And that's what I did. And like once it was in there, I had to modify it and adjust it, and I'm gonna continue to modify it. But I just set that to infinity every week.
Yeah.
And then the real hack that took me a little bit to figure out was to change the color of it to being like a slightly off-white, so that it's in the background behind all of my other stuff. So it's not just a bunch of blocks of blue to make it look like my brain to think I'm busy when I'm not. Like those things can be moved. I'm gonna try to be strict with it, but I'm not gonna try to be super strict at the beginning.
Well, so as the way that I see it working out for me. So Tyler's mom, Jessica, she made the suggestion to me. She goes, you let people just book any time on your calendar? And I was like, yeah. She goes, no.
Yeah.
Change that to 1 to 3. That's it. That's it.
Yep.
If you can't meet during that time, I guess you're not my client. Or like.
Yeah. Or we're gonna have to push it to a week or two out.
And that's the thing. It's like, it wasn't like you're not my client. It's just like onboarding.
Yeah.
Should be.
You should be able to control that.
And so, I had kind of just made it where it was just open-ended. Like, whenever you're available, I can, if it's open on my calendar, great, we'll do that. So, I wanted to shrink that down. But what I used to have this little note that said from 9 to 10 every day, do this. From 10 to 11, do this. Like, it was a really good idea. But I never actually implemented it consistently because I was always like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. Well, I'm finally to this point, which it's a very like weird place to say I'm at, but like San Angelo Studios pays me half my income.
Yeah.
Which has never been the case.
That's awesome.
Now, and before I had to have a project a month. And originally, at the very beginning of everything, I had to have 2 projects a month. Then a couple years ago, that switched where I only needed 1 project a month, and that was great. And now I need 1 project every other month.
Wow!
But if I can get those projects done, because most of those projects
6 projects a year.
Most of those projects take 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, if I can get those projects done without all this other mess involved, then I can get so much done. And there's some interpersonal mess. There's some mental health mess. There's some financial mess. There's some, like I've let myself just be so available to people mess. That like, so you put all that together and you're like, there's a lot going on. Well, when I finally get around to adding this segment to my calendar after I finish that website, like my hope is that I can, there was the piece.
There it is.
Because I need to.
It's just underneath something?
Yep. So.
It's hard. It's so hard to talk and do Lego at the same time. I thought it would be simple. It's really hard. I don't think we can
challenge you to.
Yeah. Do an interesting try to be interesting on a podcast. I'm gonna say we're interesting. But.
So, but with that, like, if I said, okay, I work on big projects. Say it's Tuesday, I do BBR in the morning, and then I work on a big project. And Thursday, I do this in the morning, work on a big project. Today Thursday? Yes. So like, if I just blocked that off on my calendar and just did it that way, then when someone says, hey, this is the project that I have you working on, when will that get done? I say, I have it blocked off to work on it on this Thursday and this Thursday.
Yeah.
And that way, maybe I'm doing, it's like I work on your project on Thursdays until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Then I work on somebody else's project on Tuesday. So I can simultaneously be running 2 projects like I'm used to, but to like be consistent and be like, okay, well, when will I have an update? Well, you'll have an update at the end of Tuesday because Tuesday is the day I work on it.
Yeah.
And if I could be more specific like that, and then just turn things down when they pop up on Tuesdays, and I can review my calendar and like I bet I can export my calendar and ask chat to say like when are the most effective times to
When do people usually book time with me?
and that way I'm like, no, I'm busy. It's okay. I'm busy.
Well, that's also
And-
just that confidence of instead of saying, "Oh, I'm working on it," if somebody's asking about an update on a project, instead of saying, "Oh, I'm working on it," or like, "Oh, that's my next stop," or "Yes, it's in progress," be like, to give somebody an actual like date
Mhm.
that you're doing something. I think cues to them, oh, this person's on top of it.
Yeah.
They're not just, flying by the seat of their pants. They're
And
professional.
The most of the time, I'm flying by the seat of my pants, and I say, I'll get that to you by the end of the day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which I said that to somebody yesterday or 2 days ago, and I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I failed. I mean, it will be fine. It's a work in progress project,
Mm-hmm.
which is much better. Like it was very much like I'm trying this, and then he was like, "Actually, could we start that now?" And I was like, "Let's figure that out." So that's my number 2 thing to do, I guess, today, is to figure out.
Well, it's nice because it feels like I have permission to do this podcast now because I blocked it off.
Yeah.
And I actually have blocked off time to edit the podcast later in the week. So because that became a big problem for me, it's just storage space on all these files. And so I realized I really have to put in time to do that consistently to make sure that I am
Fucking hate it. I hate
But
allergies.
I'm curious if
Okay, I got it that time.
you got it.
Yeah, let me pour it down with some
Some coffee.
phlegm and some hot coffee.
You need this guy. It has a heater in it.
I've
I don't drink coffee fast enough.
$45.
It was a graduation gift.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think it's more than $45. I considered it. I looked into it, and then I realized I don't think I've drank a cold cup of coffee in a long time. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I've had to microwave a coffee. Phil, the guy I used to share an office with,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Phil, this seems like something you should watch. You should watch this. You're an architect. It's right up your alley. Building things, and you have a lot of spare time. Because
We just built the creator like city set that had cool architecture.
Phil, listen to this.
Built
Okay.
Big Ben. Or I built Big Ben.
PWF Architecture, Phil Frisk in Seattle, Washington, specializes in churches. He does a lot of other stuff too.
Mhm.
I've considered, like, if my interest rate wasn't so freaking good on my house, I've considered having him design like a barn dominium for me.
Mhm.
That'd be cool. But okay, so Phil,
Always microwave his
no, that's where we're going. So Phil was wonderful. I needed office space. His office was at the end of at the end of the building that our Mars Hill offices were.
Mm.
And he came over like early on, and he just met me, and he was super nice. And everybody else, in that realm of the world, everybody kind of was what's the word? Not
Dicks.
scared. No, well, not scared. Like they're always like worried about people. Not in the positive way. in the
like
skeptical. I
they're
think.
skeptical.
Yeah, they're just skeptical of anybody because it was a target. Like Mars Hill was a target for people. Like just
Yeah.
I mean for like complicated situation. But so people were kind of skeptical, like the people that worked around me, but I was like, it's just he's a nice guy. Why do we need to be skeptical of him?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just never was. And so we had lunch a couple times, and then at the end, like he goes, "Hey, I know that you guys are moving out, and you know, if you ever need office space, let me know." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go work from home for a little bit, but if that doesn't work out, I'll give you a call." So, blah 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 blah. All this shit went down, and then I called Phil, and I'm like, "Hey, let's go to lunch." So we went to lunch, and told him like, "Yeah, I need to not work at home right now," and he was like, "Yeah, cool, come into the office." And he said, "How, like, I don't really know how to do this, so what do you want to pay in rent?" And like I did some like weird calculation. I don't remember how I got to the number, but basically it covered his copier,
Yeah.
like his copier rent and or purchase. And he was happy with that. He was he was like, "No, this is great," and super dude, wonderful guy.
Super dude.
I've kept up with him. So, I do an update on his website every year, at least once. But so one day I'm in the office and he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna make a pot of coffee," and I go, "Oh, I made a pot of coffee this morning. I just," and he wasn't always there, and I would just be like, "Yeah, I just microwave it." He goes, "You what?" And I was like, "Yeah, just I'm microwave the coffee." And he was like, "No, we don't do that here." And I go, "Phil, I don't pay for the coffee. You do." He goes, "I don't care. You make a pot in the morning, and then in the afternoon, if we want coffee, we make another pot. Separate.
The end.
Like, this is how we do things."
Yeah.
I go, "But Phil, like, this is an extra expense." And he goes, "Seth, it's Costco coffee. Like, it was the Costco tub. It's
yeah.
it's pre-ground
Yeah.
tub of coffee." And at Mars Hill, we had Storyville coffee. Well, at least in the executive suites.
So I don't even remember if we had coffee at E-District or not.
I think you did, but it was probably garbage.
It was probably
But
I don't know. It was Seattle. Like
I mean,
everybody was
even the
very
cheap
proud of their
stuff.
coffee.
Even the cheap stuff was good.
Yeah. That
Well,
was
so-
my favorite thing.
So we had Storyville. We used Storyville here pretty exclusively for the first like couple of years
Yeah.
because they opened like right when I opened. They did a well, okay, for the first year, this was great. First year, I had Beth sign us up for every free coffee trial each week. So every time we needed new coffee, something came up, something free showed up, and then we just canceled the subscription. And it was great. And so we always had this different coffee. And then at some point it was like, this is getting too, like, this is an obnoxious task for someone to do. And so I just was like, hey, we're just going to buy coffee now. And then we ended up, I would go to the store and buy coffee. And then I ran out of like, it just kind of like got kind of bored of what was at HEB.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to Market Street for this. So, so then I was like, Storyville is good. And they had the subscription. So we signed up for the subscription and we got coffee. Well, their bags are 12 ounces instead of a pound and they're higher priced. So it was like not cost effective.
Right.
And then a couple years ago, or maybe last year, we signed up for, what was it? It's called Trade Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get a referral link for you to play here.
Yeah, that's not.
I know, but it's more fun if I do it and then it just doesn't happen. But it's probably maybe in the description. Maybe Trade Coffee.
Sorry.
Affiliate link in the description. I don't know.
Yeah, if you send me the link.
Okay, so, but they send us coffee every week, and it's just in time. Like it is really just in time, because we pretty much. I opened the last thing of it yesterday, and then And then the dang it.
Lose your spot.
No, I put too many of these. But like, I opened the last bag that got here yesterday and used half of it, and the next bag sent me an email that said it was shipping today. So it's like perfect timing. But
Oh, I missed that.
so I appreciate good coffee, and even like two of the guys here are real coffee snobs, and like they appreciate the coffee that I have, which is great.
If I wasn't so budget conscious, I would also be a coffee snob. Now, all that to say, we do have like a Breville Touch espresso machine at our house, so we
Good
just
coffee
make
machine.
2 buttons and to like make a fantastic Americano. But I try not to be too much of a stickler when it comes to like the coffee beans we buy, because it's not technically espresso beans. And it's like a medium roast. It's fine. But if I was a snob, that'd be different. But we definitely got spoiled living in Seattle for a long time.
Yeah.
You couldn't find bad coffee.
I was telling my students in New York, I was in Chinatown, and I walked into this little bodega that nondescript Chinese, like Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Vietnamese coffee bodega thing. Walk in, and I'm like, I'd like a Vietnamese coffee and a water. And they're like, that'll be $3. And I was like, and the water. And they're like, yeah, the coffee was $2, the water's $1. And I was like, what?
You don't get that.
I was telling my students I have like 6 Vietnamese students in my class, and they go, yeah, it's only $1 in Vietnam. And I go, the shipping fees. They had to ship it here, and I had to pay a little extra. Assholes.
Taking a profit's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. That means your business can keep going, right? It's the gouging that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, we're all getting gouged all the time.
I mean,
dude, my grocery bill is crazy.
Like, can I please have 1 penny back on every Starbucks that I get, and maybe just do Zoom calls instead of flying from SoCal to Seattle for the CEO?
Dude,
on a private jet?
It's those CEO inflated salaries, and it's crazy. And all the bonuses and stuff.
Okay,
Like,
I feel like my coffee
crazy.
story took you way off track, but I have one more thing. One time I turned on a coffee pot and it didn't sit right, and so it just poured out on the floor. And it was great because it was tiled, and so it was fine.
in that guy's office.
Yeah. And
Good thing it wasn't
when
carpet.
when we were like the Marcel executive offices. I mean, I think so. The guy that started Storyville was a big donor to Marcel, so I don't know if we really paid like a whole lot for the coffee. We might have,
Probably paid cost for it.
but I don't know. I mean, but also we were a big church, so like it made sense to like the kickback. I don't, what was that? That was nothing. That dude bailed us out at the end.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I'm supposed to talk about that, but whatever.
Welcome back to the rise and fall of Marcel.
Oh, dang. Dang. So saying all that, we would do in our office. I don't think we had a coffee pot. We did French press every day.
That's great.
That
But
was
it takes
it.
so much time.
But I got paid to do it.
Yeah.
So
That's the thing, dude. Like, I miss getting paid when I'm just like sitting around
to do nothing.
Dude,
Yeah.
and like trying to learn. Which I mean, look, I have a business. It's probably the same, but it's. And I did when I was making that calendar. I blocked off flex time, and I put I put research/flex, but really it's Landon goes in his saved, tweets on Twitter and like actually learns the thing he like set aside time to learn. If you're seeing this right now, go into your saved tweets or TikToks of something you wanted to learn and stop watching this and learn that thing.
Whoa.
Because
Finish watching this.
no, skip this. If you're still watching this, you're failing. Go over to your saved section of either Twitter
Of what?
or Instagram, or it's not X. It's so stupid.
I'm telling Elon.
Good.
Text him.
If I could get Elon's attention, that's great. Go to your saved area and go learn the thing you wanted to learn a month ago because you've neglected it. Do it now. Every now and then I make a TikTok that says that.
I like how you're saying that, and I can't get up and leave and go do the thing that I want to learn.
You are learning.
Oh.
You're learning
I said the thing I
how to
want to learn.
podcast. What?
I said the thing I want to learn.
The thing you want to learn.
Yeah.
You don't want to learn how to build
Joke.
Lego.
I'm a master builder.
I just love this so much. Like, if I have any touch of the tism, right? Like, it's definitely comes out the most when I'm like putting Lego sets together. That's probably not a good thing to say.
Is autism treatable by therapy or medication?
No,
Okay.
it's just
Not for the clubhouse.
not for the clubhouse. Which that was a really good meeting. You want to talk about that for
Yeah,
a sec?
yeah.
I mean, obviously, we can't. We're not clients yet.
I don't know
so-
what we can't or can't talk about. I'm not signing no NDAs, so
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I think so. What we did was we had a meeting with the clubhouse, which is a project of MHMR, which is My Health, My Resources organization here in town, and the clubhouse is a group that is people who. Where the fuck do those go?
What? Did you already do that step?
Did I miss it?
You already did it?
No, I just
Oh.
I put it all together without putting those on. So they help people who have mental illness, and one of the things that she said, the lady that runs it said, "Yeah, that's cool."
I'm sorry, I'm like getting distracted,
yeah.
but
Oh,
This
and it
is-
opens. That's cool.
well, it's a hinge because you can't do that angle otherwise.
Oh yeah, that's true.
For the helmet.
So
It's just what I love it so.
she said one thing that she said that was really interesting to me, a new piece of information about the clubhouse was we're here to help people with mental illness. And by mental illness, we mean things that can be treated with drugs and therapy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I
It's
definitely
specific.
thought the clubhouse was like geared towards, I really want to be general, but I don't know the general term, but like the general term over people with like Down syndrome
Yeah.
and over the top autism and things like that. So like, but she said, no, and she said mental illness. And then she said,
Intellectual intellectual deficiency. Something.
disability or I don't know.
I wrote
But-
it down.
But she said, the way you can tell is it something that happened to you
Yeah.
that you need medication, or like, is it part of your raising that you need medication or therapy for? Is it part of something that happened in your life? That's come to us.
Yeah.
If it's something that God did to you,
Did to you.
It's
She said if
not
it's the
you.
way God made you.
she did, but I prefer it the other way. Though if it's something that God did to you, then
If it's something
Don't
God
come
cursed
here.
you with.
don't come here.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was don't come here. It's just that's not what we're for.
Yeah.
Because I'm
No.
fairly certain that I've met some people at the clubhouse that do have
Yeah.
those.
But it's just not what they specialize in.
And
Well,
so,
really, they're trying to build community for people. For like normal people. I hate to say normal, but it's like the average. It's like 1 in 5 people
That's what
have
she
a
said.
mental illness. There's a statistic she's quoted.
hi.
Hi, we're 2 for 2 in here. So
Yeah, I don't know where she's getting that crappy number.
I think.
1 in 5, my ass.
Well, in this building, I think it's going to be a lot higher because entrepreneurs, like I think, all have at least ADHD.
Yeah.
If not, probably major depressive disorder. So,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, we should do. A
I guess
survey.
we just. Do you have mental illness?
Yeah.
Do you have mental illness?
You
just
work
like
at San Angelo.
wait.
We need a partnership with them.
No, this is it. You remember what's her name is doing with on the street?
Yeah. Oh, I put this on.
What is her name?
London?
London. So London Cruz. She has a TikTok channel, and she was like running up to people and being like,
I missed a section.
for $1,
Yeah, $4.
who marries the couple? And they're like, I don't remember what the officiant is called.
Soren.
And it's like,
Soren didn't know.
oh, wow, just call her straight
Just
out.
kidding. I like Soren.
Go look that up on the internet.
London
But
Cruise events on TikTok and
so all that to say, we just run around town. What's your mental illness? What do you struggle with?
yeah.
I think
You think they would
so. I have a therapist, and my wife has a therapist, and our marriage has a therapist.
I now have a therapist.
Well, I'm not one to call other people out, so I guess I just called out Laura. But
Yeah,
you
you
know,
did.
and my marriage. But so we see individual therapists. Mine's cheaper, and then we see a marriage therapist
I'm
as
not
of
sure cheaper is the right
Tuesday.
thing.
Oh, mine is paid for by our insurance. Laura's is not. It is a
Gotcha.
talking point that is stressful for me. But with that being said,
There we
the
go.
only reason that I got help with mental things, which was depression. So about 3 years ago, Montgomery was born, and I was very exhausted, right? As you are when you have a baby.
Yeah.
But the exhaustion wasn't going away. Like it was just like this ongoing thing. And I reached out. Well, so I was talking with a buddy, and he said, well, like 6 months ago, I went and saw my doctor and kind of talked through some of this stuff, and he put me on antidepressant, and I am so much better. He said the one side effect was I don't pee as straight anymore, and I was like, as long as it's peeing, not. But no judgment here. But so then they put me on something else for that, and I was like, oh, so they like helped you with both things, yeah. So I went in, talked. Well, I called I called a doctor because I was in between doctors, and I called a doctor and I was like, I need help, and they were like, well, we can see you in 6 months, and I was like,
That's not how this works. I might need it sooner than that.
like, you know where this goes, right? Like,
Yeah.
you get depressed and then you spiral, and then you like
and then it
wanna
becomes
not-
less good.
you want to not be here anymore.
You want to take a permanent vacation.
And so I was like, okay. And then how do I talk to someone sooner? And they were like, Access Clinic. So at Shannon, there's this thing called the Access Clinic for people in between doctors. Doctors quit, doctors retire, whatever. They have a clinic specifically for that. It's great.
Whoa, that just rolled all the way
Um,
across the table.
So I went in. Well, so the next thing I did was they were like, well, we can see you in 30 days. And I was like,
Again,
so
do I need to call the hotline at this point?
so I called a friend who's a doctor, and I said, here's the situation. I just need help getting to the Access Clinic. Like can you,
Making it
is
that
there a
far.
way to like mitigate some of this?
Yeah.
He was like, he asked me like all the questions. He's like, how are you doing? Are you safe?
Yeah.
Are you financially stable? Are you this? Are you that? Are you gonna kill yourself? And I was like, no. And he was like, okay. So we did a consultation. We had the appointment. We did everything right. I'm saying that for a legal reason. And he got me on something he goes, I'm writing this for 30 days. And then you will see your Access Clinic, and then they will handle it from there. And I was like, perfect. That sounds great. That's exactly what I need. So I got in the Access Clinic.
It's a bicycle.
And then, wow. And then
So
I just went on this long mental health journey. And I'm in a much better place, I think. But found out I have ADHD, not depression.
mhm.
and so like, well, so depression made me need. Well, so I had depression, and then they're like, well, maybe you have ADHD, so you should take this non-stimulant. And then taking those two things together was like, oh, and now you have, like, your heart rate is really high, so we're gonna give you medicine for that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm on just strictly one stimulant medication after a journey, and I am, I think, in a much better place now. And
I went the very non-traditional route and like just Googled it and used Redbox RX,
Mhm.
not the DVD company, but
which is closing.
yeah, which is crazy that they have that name. I don't know. I guess they knew it was closing or something. But that, so like I just had a video call with a doctor, I'm assuming. I don't know. It was a video call. She wasn't wearing like the lab coat, so I can't tell if she was a doctor. or
Oh
not.
yeah, that's the way to know.
Yeah, TV taught me everything I know.
Mhm.
So I just had a consultation, and they're like, "Oh, try this." I was like, "Okay." And I tried that for a while, and it sucked, and I slept all the time.
Hmm.
And I was like, "This doesn't work." And they're like, "Okay, well, let's put you on this ADHD medication that also helps out with depression." I was like, "Cool," and that worked. So
Yeah, I think a lot
that
of
was like a 2. That was like, I guess that was longer. That was like probably a 6-month journey.
but a lot of people don't understand that, like, if the first thing isn't working, then you should push back.
Well, that's the kind of the cool
Hey.
thing about Redbox RX. Like
They were
they were like, cool.
Yeah.
Like if that doesn't work, try this.
Yeah.
Okay, well wean you off of that and do this. Because I was like, I don't want multiple things. I want one thing that works.
Mhm.
So it's been great. I'm on a very high dosage of it,
Mhm.
but it's been a lot better.
Well, I talked to my therapist, and she said, I was telling her about how I got to where I was going. I was like, yeah, I sat down and talked with my behavioral health doctor and talked for an hour. And she goes, yeah, so you have ADHD, so I'm going to get you on something good. And I was like, perfect. And I told my therapist that. She goes, what? And I go, yeah. She goes, I went in and had like 3 different appointments with all these different tests and all this different stuff. And then they were like, oh yeah, the tests say you have ADHD.
Yeah.
And so it was like this complicated thing. And hers is like, I think she said she takes like twice what I take.
Yeah.
And she's tiny. So I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about that stuff, but I didn't sign her. I'm not allowed. She's not allowed to talk about
You
me.
can
I can
say
talk
her
about
name.
her.
It's fine. So, yeah, I think that's the direction of progress when it comes to technology solutions to things. Like you can just FaceTime
A
a
dog.
doctor
Yeah.
and talk to them, and they're a specialist in the exact thing that you need help with, and they help you. Like that's amazing for just accessibility, because I do not have health insurance because I make very little money. I don't want to say no money, but I don't make very much. So that
We need to review that.
I'm working on it. All right, I got stuff.
Marketplace is about to open
Marketplace?
for the Obamacare.
Oh,
It's about to open.
no, it's fine. I don't need it. Because Redbox is like $30 a month.
Yep.
For the medication I need. And I'm like, health insurance is a lot more than that.
Maybe.
I looked into it, especially once you do your entire family. It's like, oh crap. But all that
because
to
your
say,
wife makes money too.
I like technology, and when it helps people, and like obviously that's progress in ADHD diagnoses as well, and like that just being more accepting and like widespread. Or maybe
Yeah. So
the tech
back to
company
what
does
you were
too.
talking about before I talked about coffee, and my ADHD took us all the way to here. What were you saying?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Rewind the clip. Review the clip.
I can't get this out now.
Can we do
I
that?
messed up. I'm gonna have to take it apart.
We just need someone sitting over there taking notes of what we say and helping us get back to
Get back to where we were going.
here were the tangents today.
I made notes of like things to talk about because I was like, we're gonna do a podcast
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But where are those notes, buddy?
on my phone right next to me.
Oh, good.
So
So-
I recently had a client that started getting like really negative comments out of nowhere from somebody who just had like a vendetta against them, like got butthurt for some reason. So they've had to, we're like blocking them. That's like what I'm doing after this. It's like going onto their page and just being like, dude, this guy's just being a
Yeah, how
menace."
can you, why didn't you, I mean, is that not what you just do? Just block them?
That's why I don't know. I've never had to do that before, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it's simple enough.
Yeah.
But I was curious what your thoughts were on, like, have you dealt with that as, a business owner? Have you dealt with that with clients?
I've dealt with it with clients, not with me, because most of my clients, I control their website, so they're not gonna like be negative towards me. I like, so that's the saving grace for me. But yeah, I've had like, we used to respond to negative comments for Peasant Village a lot. We don't get them as much anymore because we made some internal adjustments. So some of it was like self-inflicted. It's like, why do you have to be so dramatic? Like, you could have called us and said that you were disappointed, and we would have fixed it, or
Yeah.
told us that day, and we
Yeah.
would have fixed it. But
On the
you're
spot.
you're just being very dramatic, and so I think like I saw like Sunset Junior. So Sunset Junior is a burger place in town. It's delicious. They engage a lot on social media, and one of the staff members there is the owners. So the owner's mom and dad work there too, and
Yeah.
and they're lovely.
Troy and Pam Klausner.
Yes. Wow. Just call them out. So, but what?
Was I not supposed to call them
I
out?
don't know, but it's okay.
If it's public.
No, it's good. Yeah, it's public. So she
I love
she
it.
like
That's why I
she
called
had
it out.
posted about someone who was complaining about it.
Yeah.
About like she's like, if you order your food and don't pick it up within the first hour, we can't guarantee that it's gonna be good later. It's gonna suck.
That's
Like-
logical.
Like
Yeah.
it's just not going to be good. And so, but what I stand by, I don't think I've ever gotten this advice, but I think it's reasonable information, is if someone writes you a bad review and it is genuinely your fault,
Mhm.
go above and beyond to fix it. If someone writes you a review and is so freaking dramatic that it is impossible to fix it, or is just like, this person is obviously being dumb.
Yeah.
What I always tell people is write a very nice response explaining the situation, post it, and walk away. Because if you can do that, if you can just
forget about it.
like, that's going to eat you up more than the 100 customers you serve that day. If you just think about it the whole day or the rest of the week or whatever. But also, while like online, Google gives you the option to respond because they want you to respond. And so what I tell people is, this is all people do. This is all I do when I look at Google. I read about 5 good reviews, and I click the bad ones. And I click the 1-star reviews, and I look at those, and I go, what was the bad situation so that I can,
Yeah.
the chicken wasn't good. Okay,
That happens.
I don't buy the chicken.
Yeah.
Right. But what What also you'll see a lot of times, and I think this is where this is the advice is you write what happened from your perspective as the restaurant owner. And you say, we're sorry, and we hope you give us another try.
Mhm.
Let us know when you're going to come in so we can ensure like
That you're taking
that
care
you're
of.
taken care of.
Yeah.
And that's it. Walk away from it. Because if I'm reading that post later, I'm like, wow, the restaurant did something to try to help them.
Yeah.
So
you can't.
if you just
Things
yell
are
at
gonna
them,
happen.
if you just yell back at them, like, you get a bad review and you're like, oh, fuck you. Well, that means if something bad happens on my experience, that's the reaction I'm going to get.
Yeah.
That's when I don't go to a place.
Yeah.
If their reactions to things are like dramatically obnoxious, I'm like, I'm not going to risk it. Because I'm not going to risk putting myself in that situation where if I had a little issue and it blew up into this big thing, I'm just not going to do that. So I think for that situation, it's like, if it's somebody with a vendetta, blocked.
Yeah. That's what we're leaning towards. I noticed that the comments were popping up because I get alerts for all this stuff because I'm like one of the admins on their page, which is the thing to do, by the way. Like I've done it to where I wasn't the admin and it's so much easier if you just are. But I just saw these comments popping up and I was like, okay, like I went in to go address it and see what was going on and the owners had already hidden it, just being like, we figured out how to hide it because this person is being very dramatic and like out of pocket. Like being out of pocket about it. So they texted me shortly after, which I almost emailed them on the spot like that night, and I really should have, being like, hey, saw these comments, we're gonna figure it out. But instead, like they beat me to it, which that's a lesson learned. I'm not gonna let them do that again. Just because from there, even if I say like, hey, I'm watching this, I noticed that, like the fact that I caught it first is just proof that I did.
Yeah.
Other than me just not saying that they don't trust me, but
No, it just helps.
just-
It helps with that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
um,
That happened to me last night. We submitted some Google ads and it was rejected. And instead of, I would have normally just like dealt with it today and fixed it. But I know that my client was already stressed out about it. So before he had a chance to like get those emails, because he was getting them too, I said, hey, I saw this. I'm working on it. I'm going to get that fixed.
nice.
But-
Is that good for client retention? You think?
I guess. We already had kind of this headbutt thing with that specific client. Like we just had some miscommunications and we've addressed them and moved forward. But I think the best client retention is having a problem with the client, working it out, and then moving forward. Because like
'Cause then they're like, oh,
it's
okay.
it's just like the 1-star review that gets a good response from the business owner, right? You know that if something does come up, say something. Let's talk it out. Let's work it out. And we've done that before. But yeah, I think like if you only have, so I think the optimal Google review is 4.2. If you only have 5-star reviews, it looks like you paid for them.
Yeah.
If you have a 4.2, it's obvious that like you didn't get all 5-star reviews from people that you paid or tricked into doing it. I also think it's funny, like when you every once in a while I'll see a 2-star review that's like, this was the best experience ever. And it's just because you know that people go look at the 2-star reviews.
Really?
It's like it's a hack.
Oh my gosh, that's
Another-
awful.
Another hack, a Reddit hack.
A Reddit hack?
Okay, what's the best restaurant in San Angelo? Post that on Reddit. Okay. Then people answer. You get a bunch of people to answer. And then at the very end, you say, thank you so much. We ended up going to the Peasant Village and it was awesome. Like you do an edit, like a OP edit. You go, we went to the Peasant Village and it was awesome. Thank you so much for all your recommendations. It doesn't matter how many recommendations were there. It doesn't matter even if the Peasant Village was there.
Was
That's-
recommended?
It was recommended and I updated it and I gave a little review, right? So now when somebody types in what's the best restaurant in San Angelo, they find
That
that
comes up.
Reddit tag has a bunch of answers. But what is that
But it
person?
has the
What is that
results.
person? The person that wants to know is looking at that top one, going, "Oh, they already found the answer, and it was great. I should go there." I saw that on TikTok one day. I was like, "That's friggin' genius."
So you actually tried that out?
No, I haven't tried
Oh.
it, but I should.
So I feel like that's really smart.
I should try it. I should try it.
Why haven't you tried it?
Why are we an ASMR channel?
I don't know how to do this. Let's see. Haha. Just the way. So there's this principle in design that I learned about.
My friend
when I
Casey
went
was our
back.
vice principal one time.
There's this principle in design called Gestalt, and it's
That sounds made up.
It does, doesn't it? But it's the idea that the tiny details serve the whole of the piece and not, but the details themselves are also like important and cool, basically. So anytime something like this happens, that's like what I think of. Is like in order to create a very specific curve, they have these on rotating pieces. I don't know what that piece is called, but they've engineered it in a way that it has like, because otherwise, how are you going to make that curve, right? What?
You said, I don't know what that piece is called. What are any of these pieces called?
Lego bricks?
I know, but like,
Oh,
I'm just like, it was like,
well,
when Tyler looks at a set of tools, I'm like, get the screwdriver. She goes,
no,
Is
I
this
would
it?
call this a flat 4x4.
okay.
Like that's kind of how I
It just
deal
seemed,
with stuff.
it just seemed like
But this
you were like
piece, I have
this
no clue.
one thing that I didn't know, but I know all the others.
I know some of the others. All right, shut up. Anyway,
They should really make a
that's
Lego,
really really interesting to
an-
me, and I love it.
an offset L, where there's one more brick right here, like Tetris.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
thought.
There's some really basic pieces that they have really stuck to their guns on, which is cool. I don't know how this goes. Exactly how it shows. Like, cool. And then I break it.
Do it.
But that's what really like itches the scratch in my brain when I'm building Lego sets. I'm like, that's so cool all the time. I just like the way that that's created. In another life, or maybe in the future, I'm gonna be a set designer for Lego. Time to go?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna finish. Do you want to just finish these bags, or do you like really have to go right now?
Well, I have a thing at 10:45, so
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes.
I guess I can probably finish this.
That
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it off air so that we can really like knock it out?
No.
Because we can close
Keep-
it out.
Keep talking.
Okay. So you can finish.
Yeah. No, I mean, so that's what. So say that word again now.
Gestalt.
Gestalt. Yeah. that's cool.
Gestalt. And it was one of the things when you're a senior, when you're like graduating, you have to do like a presentation and all this, which is torture for art majors because they did not take speech. They do not like.
I want to be in a room.
They want
by
the
myself.
attention. They want the attention for people to stand there when they're not there. They want people to see their stuff online and not be in front of them because it's
Mhm.
terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But it was I don't know, the presentation was fun because I've learned that I like presentations when I know what I'm talking about. I hate giving presentations on stuff that I have no clue. Like I'm not an expert in.
Well, back to the clubhouse thing,
Yeah.
right? Like I was like, Landon, can you do this? And you're like, yes. And then we sat there, and you just basically were like, I knew about this 4 minutes ago, so can you guys fill me in?
Yeah.
But then once it got onto your subject matter, though, it doesn't matter. Like you know it so well that it didn't matter that you weren't prepared for that meeting
Yeah.
because you are prepared for that meeting.
I've been preparing for that meeting with research and social listening and all of that stuff, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make as well. Is that's the worst intro to anything. I hate when I do that. It's like,
That's a good point.
no, it's just flubbing to get to the point. Anyway, I think going for finding something you're interested in for your business and not necessarily your passion, I think is the hack. Because then your passion, like if it was, I would really love to do screen printing. And I have not made a business around screen printing because it would kill the joy out of the screen printing. Plus, it's just extremely messy.
Mhm.
And I do it on paper as for like art prints, not like t-shirts. So it'd be like an art thing. But I really think that finding something you're very interested in that is not art to you is a great cross section of things you're willing to spend a lot of time like researching and figuring out and getting really good at on your own time, and not something you feel like you can't wait to clock out for. I think that can be a great cross section for people. So like, don't necessarily follow your passion, follow your interest, and try to find the cross section of your interest to things that are hard for people to do on their own and that they're willing to pay for it, and that has pain points like posting often enough on social media.
Well, this is like kind of why I like teaching my class, because like I like telling stories, I like talking to students, and I think this was a great, look at that little slide in. But like,
These are coming together very differently. I
Than
don't know
you
if you've
expected?
noticed.
oh yeah,
Like it's
You
not
did that
just
already.
orange version and blue version. Like
Yeah.
they are.
very different pieces.
I'm curious if they did that for the person who like builds both, so that they have a different
Yeah,
experience and it
makes
doesn't feel the same, or if it's just it was necessary.
But like I like teaching the class. I think like I have a good time doing it, and
Yeah.
so I do get paid kind of for it, but not enough to do it.
Didn't you say you get paid enough to like pay your taxes at the end of the year, basically?
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but some
Yeah.
of them.
So like, yeah. So I actually have it just like where whatever money ASU tries to pay me, it just goes straight to my taxes.
Mm.
Like ASU writes the IRS the check. I don't
Oh,
even,
really?
It doesn't even come to me. And so that makes my when it comes to tax season, it just offsets a
Yeah.
significant portion of my taxes.
Yeah.
Since
I mean, you put a lot of work into it.
and then also, not only does it like take a significant portion of my taxes, it allows me to not have to file quarterly. Because like as long as you're paying something, because your quarterly taxes are a quote unquote estimate. So if you're wrong, as long as you make it up at the end of the year for the full year, you're good. So conveniently, I like am paying taxes throughout the year, and so I used to just used to pay the penalty for not paying my taxes throughout the year. But now, because it's getting paid throughout the year,
Or something's getting paid.
Something's getting
whether
paid
it's
throughout the year.
perfectly
Right.
accurate or not.
and you as a small business owner, you can't. It's not an easy thing to
Yeah.
estimate. So as I do that, it's like that's very helpful. So I just look at it like I'm not making any money. I know I am, but like I just look at it like I'm not.
Yeah.
And that is
Like you're like
how I can
volunteering.
have the joy,
Yeah.
still there, and still not be like, yeah, I'm just going to do this for fun, because Laura would hate it.
Well, you put a lot of effort into it, and you have a lot of experience with business issues, like modern business issues. So I think it's great. It's a good fit.
Yeah, and I mean, it's nice to like when it's called current issues in management,
Mhm.
and I think I'm like overly qualified to talk about that stuff because I deal with so many different businesses that it's like I get to see all these different issues. So
Slide in.
okay,
Scratch.
I'm gonna
That would be
do
different.
I think
You just have 4 pieces there. Like that.
What the crap did I not do? That goes there, and that goes there. This goes here. Okay, close this out, Landon.
Oh, I'm just sitting here watching you build. Great radio, drive time radio, just silence and just saying, I'm gonna put this here, put that there. It's like ASMR. Anyway, yeah, so that was the Bricks and Business Podcast, first episode of this build, the helmets. I'm gonna just start calling it the helmets. We will be back. We're gonna do this weekly, and so I'm not promising anything, but we're gonna shoot for weekly podcasts, lots of clips online. So if you're seeing this, follow us, listen to the podcast. It's a blast. And we'll see you next time.